it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and it's not even that scary. So the book we are going to be talking about today is Tunnel of Bone by Victoria. I'm not even going to try to say her last name because I'm going to butcher it. But this book is the second book in a series, so this video will contain spoilers for this book and thus the book that come before it. So if you do not want spoilers for either of those books, I recommend you skip this review and come back when you've read it so you can form your own opinion of the book before you listen to mine, unless you're someone that likes to hear the opinions of people before they purchase a book or get a book from their library to read it. So with that being said, let's get into the characters of this book. Just like the first one, our main characters are Cassandra and Jacob. Cassandra is a psychic or an in-betweener who can see ghosts and thus thinks it's her job to take on the ghosts and help them move on. And Jacob, her sidekick, is her best friend. Her sidekick is her best friend, and no one else can see him because he is the ghost that saved her life after a near-death experience. And you also get her mom and dad, but they're kind of more side characters, they're not main characters. So with that being said, let's get into my thoughts on this book. So right off the bat, I can say that I am very happy that I actually was able to stumble upon this series, because if you remember in my review for this first book, I was not seeking this book out at all. I just wanted an audiobook to listen to while I was on my walk, and it happened to be one of the only ones available that was an actual first book in the series. So I liked the first book so much that I decided to continue with this one. And in this one, we see our characters move from Scotland into Paris. And in this book, they are investigating specifically the catacombs of Paris, where many generations have been buried and their bones are still down there. So it is said to be very haunted. And to which Cassandra, who can actually see ghosts and step into the in-between, which is like the realm where spirits are stuck. They are trapped there. It's not heaven, it's not hell, it's the place where the ghosts are stuck when they stay, like residual hauntings, where it's like a tape recorder caught a moment and a memory and it just keeps playing, or an active haunting where the ghost is physically there and able to mess with people. So after learning from her friend Lyra Challery in the previous book that since she is able to see ghosts, it is her job to send them on to wherever they go, whether that's heaven or whether that's hell. It's her job to help them move on and unstick them from the void. And Jacob, her best friend, who is a ghost, is kind of her helper in that regard, because whereas she can't always touch ghosts because she can only touch ghosts when she's in the veil, he can, whether he's in the veil or outside the veil. So they kind of work together to help the other ghosts move on. So we see them with her parents because they have a tighter grip on her now after the events that happened in the first book. They don't want her out of their sight. So they kind of make her become like the photographer, my goodness, for their show and to get behind the scenes look on things. So Cass and Jacob have to sneak off because her parents are like watching her around the clock. Yes, her parents know about Jacob, but they seem to think he's an imaginary friend because people never believe people when they say, my best friend's a ghost. They either think they're crazy or it's an imaginary friend. It happens. So, not having Lyra physically there to help with information when needed, she has her on speed dial basically. So she's like her ghost expert or ghost hunting expert, where that Cassidy can go to in order to figure out what she needs to do. Because the problem she is faced with this time, unlike the life-stealing red-cloaked woman ghost from the first book, she is dealing with a poltergeist. And a poltergeist in this book, and in this lore specifically, is a ghost that has forgotten their life and thus doesn't know their purpose for why they're stuck in their veil or why they died and what their life was like before they died. So these poltergeists often turn to acts of mischief, like blowing a cold breeze by you just because they think it's funny, or knocking stuff over to get your attention. But these acts of mischief can seriously turn deadly. Like when the poltergeist makes all of the streetlights go crazy and traffic failed and nearly got Cass ran over. Much like the life-stealing ghost from the first one, this poltergeist is nothing to sneeze at. It's nothing to discount because it is very much a danger, and Cass and Jacob are the only ones that know what is really going on. So because it's affecting the whole city, because the catacombs run under the city of Paris, Cass and Jacob have to stop something before someone gets killed. I mean, Cass already almost got killed twice, and Jacob once again is being kind of his little cowardly self, which, for a ghost, you would think that he would be not so afraid of seeing other ghosts. That would be like a person walking by a person on a sidewalk and being like, oh no, it's another person. Like, I think that the fact that he is always afraid of the other ghosts is kind of funny, because it's like, you're a ghost too. I hate to break it to you. And on top of them having to deal with this poltergeist, Cass is also having like dreams and visions of seeing Jacob drowning and dripping in water and becoming a poltergeist himself, because she's worried that the longer Jacob spends connected to her and in the living world, because her connection with him allows him to stay in the human world, she's worried that he's going to become a poltergeist like the ghost that they are facing. So we have this mystery of what really happened to Jacob. Obviously he drowned, but why did he drown? Did he drown to save Cass? Did he drown because it was an accident? Or did he drown for some other reason? So Cass is trying to struggle with her thoughts about Jacob becoming a poltergeist while trying to keep her worry from him, because Jacob can read her mind. And the connection of mind reading doesn't go both ways. So it's very hard for her to like worry about Jacob without him being like, I am right here. I can hear you. I like this story. I like how it's funny, but it's good at balancing the funny with the like creepy, dark moments. And I feel like some authors have trouble like balancing the tone. Sometimes it goes too far funny, or sometimes they're making a joke during a serious moment and it completely ruins the scene. But there was a moment when Cass and Jacob were down in the catacombs facing the poltergeist, and Jacob had to step up And with his usual like cracking jokes and never being fully serious, for him to like switch into serious mode like that when he needed to just made it that much more engaging to listen to and probably to read. I listened to this on my library's audiobook portion, so I don't really know the experience of physically reading it, but listening to that had me like stopping mid-walk and being like, oh no. But I like these books. I'm already an hour and 24 minutes into the third one. I will say, so far, the third one is not as compelling as the first two, but I think Death himself might be following Cassandra, or Cassidy, not Cassandra, but because in this book, in Tunnel of Bone, Cass is said to feel like she's being followed and she doesn't know why she's being followed, but at the end of this book, spoiler alert, like I already warned about that, but major spoiler, if you don't want that, click away now. I probably have given those that don't want a major spoiler taken out of the video, but at the end of the book, Cass sees a man in a dark outfit with a skull mask, and she ends up like passing out because she sees how she nearly died. So I think that Cassidy was never supposed to make it out of the river because she didn't make it out on her own. She didn't make it out because another human rescued her. She only made it out of that river because Jacob was there to save her. And I don't think that a ghost should have been allowed to interfere with the human world in that way, because that kind of breaks the natural balance of the life and death cycle. And yes, death catches up with everyone eventually. None of us are immortal, but that is most certainly cheating death to a higher degree than most people say they cheated death. Because Cassandra, without Jacob, who was a ghost already and had been a ghost for a year more than she had pulled her out of that river when he had no business doing so. So I'm excited to see where this one is going to go. The next one is going to go, even though, like I did say, I'm not engaged in it as much. But I wonder if voodoo's going to play a part because they're in New Orleans in the third one. I don't know. I'm excited. I really enjoy this series so far, and I think it's only 3 books. And I will say, the constant references to Harry Potter in the first one got a little heavy-handed and a bit annoying. That's toned it down a lot in this one. I think mainly the Harry Potter references were because we were in Scotland where J.K. Rowling wrote the original concept for Harry Potter, but I'm glad it's toned down in the second book. There are still references in the second book, and there so far have been a couple in the third one as well, but the first one was a bit heavy-handed with the Harry Potter references, so I'm glad she toned that down. But I like these books. I like the characters. I like her parents and their quirky dynamic of the mom being a ghost hunter, the dad being a skeptic historian, and the daughter who could see ghosts, yet neither one of them seem to believe that she actually has a ghost best friend. The mom more entertains it than the dad, obviously, because she's the one that believes and he's the skeptic. But it's just so much fun. And like I said, I love how the author balances the humor of the characters, the family dynamic, and the finding ghosts and fighting ghosts and the danger that can have. It's so much fun. It's so much fun, and it's not even that scary. So if you want a spooky book to read on Halloween, but you don't like full-on horror books, this would be a good one to pick up. I only read it at the time I did because, like I said, it was literally the only audiobook available at my library to listen to that wasn't a continuation in a series that I hadn't read at the time. So I'm so glad though. I'm so glad. I love this series so far. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time because I'm done talking.